Man, that shit is hard every time. Damn, I got a swear jar off the rip.
Hey, no, it's P's and Q's. It's P's and Q's. There's no such thing as a swear jar. It's P's and Q's.
We're here, buddy.
It's P's and Q's, man. That's what I just tweeted. P's to viewers. Come on, coming at you. Let's go. P's and Q's coming at you on a Friday. Missing Pierre right now. Philly Blitz brought to you by 14th and Market. It's episode 131 because it was 130 last time. Messed it up again. Pierre, you messed it up. Thank you, Pierre, for setting everything up. Gave us the intro song and everything. If it was just us, we would have just gone live right away and been like, "What's up, everybody?" But how are you doing, brother?
Well, beloved dub to those who celebrate. It is I, the one and only Marquell Fripp Owens. As always, it's sunshines and bees and birds here in Philadelphia. I mean, you see me representing.
Took a little Sixers game. It's so tough, though, bro. It's so tough to watch Paul Reed on the other team. It hurts, man. Yeah. That was my guy, man. That was my guy.
Paul, out the mud.
Mud. I still got my out the mud hoodie. I've never thrown it out, bro. That's a relic. And it's good quality.
Sometimes you have fallen soldiers. With another fallen soldier, we're going to have the opportunity to talk about. Coincidentally, you got the Sixers and the Pistons playing Philly-Detroit action. And then you got some Philly-Detroit action we're about to get into. We talked about with B-Ball Paul. We got another guy in Avonte Maddox on the other side. Like, very true. Oh, man, I remember you.
Hey, you think he's still gaming?
Still gaming?
You think he's still gaming? Hey, Fortnite? But yeah, before we get started, brother, I know you and Shavin were out to dinner. What'd you guys get?
Oh, just a little something simple, man. Carolina Kitchen. I'm not sure if everybody has that in their neck of the woods.
Barbecue?
Yeah, something like it. Basically, it's a little soul food action. Food action.
Can't go wrong.
Little guy out. Tried to catch a little happy hour.
Ooh, a little Shamar out to dinner too. Ooh.
Yeah.
Love it.
How about you, man? How about you?
We had some Mexican,
Okay.
Little combo. That's what I like. I know some people like the taco place or I like a combo. I like 2 enchiladas, chile relleno, and a taco.
Combination.
That's all I need, man. It's literally all I need. We used to go to dinner, when I lived with my parents and my brother. We just get three orders of the same thing because my dad, my brother, and I would all get the same thing. Then my brother wanted to branch out and get like nachos. He was like, "Bro, who do you think you are? We do things a certain way here. And, someone has to be the renegade." But I hated to break up that transition because unbelievable. Went from basketball to football just like that, drop of a hat. Come on, where else do you get that? But as we get into Lions Eagles, obviously a big matchup. This is the Lions Super Bowl. For all intents and purposes, the way they've been talking about it. But it's funny, as we're about to get into the injury report, the big issue last year was that the Lions had a lot of injuries. Seems like the same kind of deal this year, So it almost makes you question, Quell. It almost makes you think of, we were talking about this with OJ about the Eagles training staff. Like, what's going on in Detroit, man? So, people are always.
I mean, it's injuries across the league, but kind of like you mentioned what we talked about with OJ. Shout out friend of the pod, but the Eagles coincidentally had everybody on the active roster practicing this week. Yeah. It's like,
It's interesting. It makes you think. But anyways, let me get into it real quick. So on the injury report. Not sure where Pierre gets it, but I got it up right here, right now. Shout out to Philly voice Jimmy Kemsky, giving this a nice breakdown. He got a nice chart in here, but we got Lane Johnson, obviously the ankle injury he went down with. He was limited Wednesday, full Thursday and Friday. His status is undetermined. They haven't really released anything. The only actually, injury release in terms of status that they've reported to this point is Willie Lampkin, who's questionable with a knee and ankle. But again, Cam Jurgens knee, limited Wednesday, limited Thursday, full Friday. So, but interestingly enough, he said he didn't know if he'd play. So, trending in the right direction, but he's going to be a game day decision at the end of it all. Landon Dickerson, quad, limited Wednesday, full Thursday, Friday. Tyler Steen, oblique, limited Wednesday, full Thursday, Friday. And then the rest of these guys, they practiced every day. They were full. That's Nolan Smith, Jacorian Bennett. So Nolan Smith, tricep.
Of course.
Bennett. Yeah, it's interesting. Pectoral. Darius Cooper, shoulder. Willie Lampkin, who I mentioned, is questionable, but knee and ankle. And long snapper Cal Adomitis, finger, was on the injury report. Then, from the Lions' perspective, I'm just going to go through who's on their list, and then I'll let you know who's in or who's out. So we got Laporta, obviously their tight end, safety Kirby Joseph, cornerback Terrion Arnold, who was taken the pick after Quinyon Mitchell, running back Sion Vaki, tight end Brock Wright, left tackle Taylor Decker, center Graham Glasgow, guard Miles Frazier, DN Marcus Davenport, cornerback DJ Reed, DN Josh Pascal, DT Pat O'Connor, running back Jacob Sailors, linebacker Malcolm Rodriguez, and cornerback Amik Robertson. And then in terms of who they've reported, Sewell is questionable. I would assume he plays because similar to Lane, very similar situation to Lane, which is kind of funny given their status in terms of where these guys stand in the league. But Penny Sewell went out with an ankle injury in their last game and then came back during the game as well, just like Lane. Similar kind of practice schedule. Well, actually, it's not because Lane practiced a little bit more. Penny did not practice on Friday, and he was limited Thursday. But he's questionable. Laporta is out. Kirby Joseph is out. Terrion Arnold is out. Vaki is questionable. Brock Wright is questionable. Taylor Decker is questionable. Frazier is questionable. Davenport questionable. DJ Reed questionable. Josh Pascal is out. Pat O'Connor is on IR. And then Sailors, Rodriguez, and Robertson are questionable. So needless to say, extremely long injury list for the Lions, but knowing how they've been playing and how they've been talking about this game throughout the offseason since the playoffs of last year, they're going to come ready to play. And as they would with any Dan Campbell team. So
I mean, as Aiden Hutchinson has already stated, they've had this game circled. This is a must win. And I mean, when you look at the Philadelphia side of things, what we get asked about it, it's just another game on the schedule. So, like we always like to say, it's funny to hear us continue to be everyone's Super Bowl, but that's what happens when you're the defending Super Bowl champions. They see you on the schedule, and everybody was ready to line it up, man. So, it's just continuing to see exactly a good litmus test of how good this team is.
No, absolutely, and obviously we've been playing the NFC North. We're perfect against the NFC North to this point. We still got the Bears coming up, obviously.
I was just about to say, shout out to Bears FC.
Taking care of
business. We taking care of business. We got a alliance going on social media.
Drafted Caleb Williams in Dynasty a couple years ago. I got stake in the team. I'm pretty much a shareholder, as the Packers fans are. I'm pretty much a shareholder of the team at that point. But no, that's going to be a fun game to talk about. But obviously, we got the Lions this week. It's going to be an interesting matchup, man. Even with the injuries, I just think they still have a lot of talented pieces, and our offense needs to just take the next step. And I think you want to talk about AJ's comments a little bit?
Yeah,
because I think they're relevant. And so obviously, I think it was Tuesday night. AJ was on Twitch or whatever it was. Rondo. Yeah, with some Madden player. I'm washed. I'm an old man. I don't really watch.
Jakey Rondo, Jakey Rondo, man. You on the internet, brother?
Is he like? The thing is, I've definitely seen his videos. I just don't know who he is. It's definitely one of those things.
Okay.
But given he was on there, I saw this video for sure, and on there he's like, "So AJ, how's life and everything?" And he's like, life is good, but everything else is a shit show, basically.
He didn't say that.
He said, "What did he say?"
He did say everything was bad, but I don't think he used the term shit show. I believe he said the shit show. Yeah, there was a lot of people,
I thought I heard it too. Places. So maybe it's because I read it first. I don't know.
I believe. I mean, it's kind of like that dress that was going around social media a few years ago. Is it blue and white? Is it white and gold? You tell me. But I do believe he said Well, in layman's terms, everything sucks.
Yeah, right.
Regardless
of what the phrasing was, the sentiment of it was felt. And then obviously the next day, I guess it was the next day. Maybe I'm getting my timeline mixed up. But then one of the days after, Big Dom facilitates a sit down, as they say in the mafia, and got a sit down between AJ, Lurie, and him. Right, that was it.
Yeah, and, just kind of talk about his comments,
what's going on,
process of the offense, and I mean, I get it.
And then, sorry, just one more before you get into it. And then AJ spoke with the media, and I think it's funny. My brother sent me the video, and he's kind of been one of the big AJ, not even a criticizer, but he's been like, he wants AJ to go about it in a better way, which I think is fair, and I think he's kind of aligned with Pierre and how Pierre's seeing it. You know, you and I have kind of seen eye to eye on this, and I think a lot of people are seeing that other perspective. And he was like, why didn't he just do this the whole time? But he was like, this is so good. And AJ just kind of talked about it. He was like, look, the defense has been bailing us out, but we can't always depend on them. For people who think we can just turn it on in December and January and just all of a sudden, just January and turn it on and operate at the same level we were, it's not going to happen. And I think that concern is valid, you know, because last year, you know, obviously they kind of just figured it out in the playoffs, but I don't think that's not a process you can stick to. That's not something you can be like, oh, we're going to do it all the time. You have to be building those things. And I think there's reason that some of the players feel discouraged with the progress to this point. So, you know, where I stand is I just hope that the coaches can kind of heed what he said. And there's kind of messaging throughout that, hey, we need to play football too. It can't just be like AJ said, you can't just be the best at protecting the ball. You have to be good at other things. And I think that's where my criticism has come from all season. It's just like, you can protect the ball and do other things too. We need to be able to find that balance. And, you know, we've talked about that as well. So how are you feeling after, you know, this week and everything that's happened, bro?
I felt good hearing AJ talk, man. It felt, I mean, I was never really one to be much against him in the first place. I always understood his complaints. I always understood where he was coming from. I felt like I tweeted earlier in the week, I'm glad everyone's finally arrived to the same point that I'm at in terms of it's the coaches, players. You did your job. It's the coaches. But I mean,
and bro, for you to be saying that, like you've been like the biggest supporter, and like, that's why it's like, it's not like some conspiracy against the coaches or something. Like, people who have given these coaches every chance, like, they need to pull their weight too. They need to do their part.
And see, that's the big thing. That's why I've appreciated hearing AJ talk this week, because he said what honestly needed to be said. Everyone knows it. At least
it's the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like I said last pod, it all ultimately comes down to approach. But it's what really needed to be said. I famously on this podcast have been one to support the whole. Look, I'm okay with them wanting to play to protect the football, let other teams make mistakes, because quite honestly, my team is more talented than yours, saying it in that aspect. And if you can make one mistake, it's hard. If we seen in that Packers game, if you can win a game 10-7, because it's hard to beat this football team. But you also, in the same breath of being able to say that, like AJ said, like Jalen said a few weeks ago, you can't be out here playing not to lose, because at some point you playing not to lose takes away all of the things that made you special. And
it makes you win.
You're right. And you become over reliant on those big plays that we got last year from a Saquon. And it's not even like a aspect of it has to be the 60-yard runs that he got, but just the offensive line and Saquon or the running game as a whole. Tank Bixby is coming along very well. Will Shipley had a few good plays last game. Like, the running game is coming along pretty well. And you can't just sit here and say, yeah, we know that if we can get in position, we can just run the ball and push and all that cool stuff. I understand it, but Nick Sirianni has prided himself for years on, you want to win the turnover battle and you want to win the explosive play battle. You can't win the explosive play battle.
Right. If you don't take a stance, it's a great point. Because we've won the turnover battle, right? We're doing good on that. But, like, you need to be able to take the chances. And the thing is The running game is coming along. The running game is not as dominant as it was last year. And to ask it to be as dominant as it was last year is tough. It was a
Be honest
generational
with you,
year.
man. To win a Super Bowl, it takes a whole lot of luck in this league. It takes a lot of luck in every league to win a championship. But when you look at the unsustainable amount of production we got from our rushing offense last year, on top of the unsustainable amount of production we got from young players last year, and it's like asking, those are two things specifically that you can't ask to repeat. You got to find different ways as a coaching staff to add to the spectrum here.
And to that point, like, you can almost empathize with the coaching staff because they're getting one of two in both those places, right? They're getting one of, they don't have the O line that's as dominant, but they're working through that and they're trying to get those things. But when it comes down to it, they have half of it there, but they need to understand it's not the same team. And that's what's frustrating about it. And it should be obvious, it should be obvious. Your O-line has played one full game together. Your starting O-line has played one full game together. That should tell you that, hey, we need to try to find other ways to distribute the ball. And, the way that the defense built on itself, is we have all these changes up front, and then we have changes in the back, post and pre-snap. The way the defense is able to build on itself throughout a game, the offense has shown ability to do it twice,
kind of
maybe 3 times. And it's not even like something like where you can really, and I keep coming back to this phrase, hang your hat on. You can't hang your hat on anything. And it's so frustrating. And the players see it. It's the elephant in the room. And, all you can hope is that there's another philosophical shift, because I don't know, man. It really just worries me to see this team only be able to ball out this year when they feel like, their back's fully against the wall. That's what it felt like in the Vikings game. That's what it felt like against the Giants, whereas like the Giants, you can't lose them twice. Vikings game was like, all right, we just lost the Giants. Like, what are we going to do here? Or that was such the Broncos? No,
yeah,
Broncos.
The Giants.
Yeah. And so it's just go out there and play your game. And and we wonder why the players and everybody's in a funk. It's because it seems like it's miserable. And it's just like, hey, let's not make it difficult. Nick Sirianni, dude, my God. I saw the picture of him from the press conference today in the what hoodie did he have on today?
The Smitty hoodie.
Slim Reaper hoodie. Dude, my God, he got so much older. And it's like, dude, like, you don't have to stress as hard.
It's a taxing job.
Pass the ball to AJ over the middle. Throw him a crosser or two. Hit Smitty with a crosser or two. Run a little mesh. Look, we went from begging for mesh to getting it so often because it was like one of the only plays we ran that was like a zone beater. And then now we've gone to not running mesh ever.
Again. And
it's so weird, bro. It's so weird. It's just like, it's puzzling because we have so much talent. I don't know. Well, we don't need to get into it more, but I think the point of it is hopefully they just heed what AJ is saying, man, because he's not.
So before we move on, I do.
Yeah, what you got?
Damn it, the Sixers done blew the lead again. But before we move on, I do want to get into a bit of Kevin Patullo's comments. He was kind of asked about if defenses were playing differently or doing things to take AJ Brown away, and just comparison, contrast type of thing to what AJ was saying. And he was like, I wouldn't say it's different. I think if you look at the style of defense we've played kind of on a daily basis this year, we played top tier defenses in the pass rush and things like that. But we've done a pretty good job against them, kind of being in the situations we've been in and teams we played against week after week. A couple weeks ago, we had Minnesota. We had 2 receivers go for 100 yards. We had 2 backs go for 100 yards against the Giants. Then, obviously, this one felt a little different, or felt more like the Kansas City game. I think coaches, we look at that and we try to figure out, is there something that's consistently showing up? I wouldn't say it's the same thing every week. I think we're kind of in those spots where you're game planning, you're consistently adjusting. Now, It was more. He starts talking about halftime adjustments and things of that nature, where
It
teams
pissed
are.
me off, dude.
Yeah, with team, he's talking about how teams, a lot of teams, they wait to halftime to have to be able to have to make adjustments. Where teams are adjusting on them after the first drive, and it's like, I mean, that's coaching, brother. And it kind of comes down to what AJ was saying ultimately, where it's like, yeah, we do a good job during the week. We got a good game plan, but once the whistles are blown and everything starts, we got to do a good job of putting our players in position to be successful. Not just saying, well, this guy should open this up for that guy, and just relying on the schematics, man.
Dude, majority of the season as well, they've been selling out to stop the run. AJ was not wrong about that. Like he said that in Petula's like, well, it's just like the defense we're facing. And also the main issue I have with that is what Pierre and I mean, you've said it as well. We say it the offense should dictate the terms. Do not let the defense dictate to you what you're going to do. And that's my number one issue with this philosophy. And that's why I kind of like, I mean, we talked about it in the offseason about Petulo, him being a Sirianni guy. We tried to find the bright side in it. But this seems to be the Sirianni baseline philosophy of just like, we want to protect the ball and then we're going to get explosive somehow. And we're going to move on in a second, but just going back to that fourth down play at the end of the game, it just makes no sense. You haven't thrown that pass at all. You had numerous third and longs. You could have tried it, gotten going a little bit, but it's like asking a shooter to take a logo 3 for the game. And it's after he hasn't shot all game. It's like, oh yeah, here, hit this real quick. You couldn't throw a slant, like just nothing else. The lack of reason and process behind these things and his horrible explanations are what frustrates me the most. And that's what I can't get behind. It's like, look, if you at least are just like, look, we tried to do these things and it just didn't work, fine. But you're not even taking the chance. And you're pissing off your players, you're pissing off your team, and everyone feels miserable. And it's just not a recipe for success. This team does well when the vibes are good. Like that's a fact of the matter. We're such a vibes heavy team, bro. Like as much as we have the Jalen's who are like, no rap poison and all of that, when the vibes are good, when people are smiling in the locker room, they're playing well. When people are just like miserable in the locker room, coming off the field, it's just like the world's going to end. And emotions are heightened. So they really just need to figure it out, man. I don't know what else you can really say. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But I guess we could turn into
let's do
a little bit about this matchup here against the Detroit Lions. We can start with Eagles offense against the Lions defense.
Let's do it.
That's pretty interesting, man. When you talk about this Lions defense, just to give us some perspective, as Jalen has said, as AJ said when he was talking, sounds like they've more than done their homework, which, I mean, Nick Sirianni kind of aligned to when he talked about it in his presser, like having a chance to have the bye week. Of course, they did their work on Green Bay, but to get him the extra opportunity to do some work on Detroit too. And you can hear that when you listen to the guys talk. But clearly, as them guys all said when they talked about it, they play heavy man coverage, man. You talk about a team that they only run cover 3, 25%. They run cover 4 at 16%, cover 2 at 13%. And the Vic Fangio special cover 6, just 3%. Now, when you talk about them and what they do, how often they do their man coverage, they're very reminiscent of what we saw from Denver, what we saw from New York. I think what we will see from Chicago when we come across them, where very heavy on the cover 1, up there at 31%. Cover 0 is at just at 2%, and cover 5 is at 5%. But again, that 5%, while it may sound low, is higher for more of a lot of teams across the league. That's something that basically too high man over top ain't really something that's ran very often, but they're one of the teams that run it more frequently. So, like stated, you're going to get man coverage a high percentage of this time, man, and you're getting a team that has 30 sacks on the season, man. They get after the quarterback.
So, Q, do you think we're going to see as much man coverage with their injuries, though?
That's what's going to be the interesting part about this. I'd be hard-pressed to tell you no, because they've shown you. They showed you last year. They showed you this year. They don't care what
they're gonna run what they run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's their stuff, and they stick to it, and it works for them. I mean, look at the record.
Right.
And the
No,
same breath for
absolutely. You
saying
can't
that.
argue with it.
I mean, we're gonna continue to rely back to AJ and his comments a lot during this podcast because he said some good stuff. Like AJ said during his presser when he had a chance to talk. I mean, when we played against the Giants and the Broncos, these teams that we talked about that play heavy man coverage, they started off like that, and he started to win. And then you started seeing teams go to more of a cloud coverage, switch to more zone. I do expect you to see something similar here, where I mean, Kelvin Shepard is a smart guy. He's a really smart guy in terms of what he likes to do defensively. He while he sticks to what he knows, he's very smart in terms of when and where to throw the fastball, for lack of a better term, or change the change up pitch from the fastball. And this seems like one of those prime opportunities. Like when you look at how these two teams match up, how they like to play, I mean, it kind of points towards the Eagles. The Lions love to play base defense. The Eagles, they love to try out that sixth offensive lineman and play heavy. They 12, 13 personnel. So they're more than willing. If y'all want to stay in base, we feel like we can create concepts for pass catchers with y'all and y'all big players on the field. The question is, do they throw a change up in that area? It's a lot of funny things to go about in this football game that I'm very intrigued to see.
Yeah, I think there's we'll get to the matchups at the end, but I think it's just their defense has a ton of injuries like last year. You know, they're missing a starting linebacker, they're missing a starting corner, they're missing a starting safety. Top D end is playing injured. You know, there's just their other D end is limited or is questionable. It's a lot for a team to overcome, and if we have the ability to have our full healthy O line out there, this needs to be a game. This needs to be a game where you're able to air the ball out. Like, I mean, I know we say it every damn week, and it's getting to the point where I want to rip my hair out saying it. But after everything that has happened this week, dude, if they can't air it out this week, I don't know if they'll ever be able to. You know what I mean? Like, with everything that has happened, you're playing a team that is playing likely, obviously you don't know, but is probably going to be playing a ton of man coverage, and they're missing their top corner. You got to be able to get the passing game going. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, ideally, you want to be able to get the passing game on. Like I said a second ago, schematically, this is a antenna pointed up for the Philadelphia Eagles offense against this defense. If I think how the teams match up, like I talked about the Lions, how often they stay in base, I think the opportunity to attack the middle of the field with them being in base, with them basically attacking those linebackers, guys like Jack Campbell, who, I mean, by all means, he's pretty good in coverage. But man, when you see him stopping the run, and them as a whole, they do a damn good job of stopping the run. I think they allow just 4 yards per carry on the season. So, like,
they're a physical defense, as you would expect from a Dan Campbell team.
By kneecaps. But we can try to continue to make this Saquon Barkley a thing and all of the rushing. And I mean, again, we can't just be one dimensional. So of course we have to figure out a way to commit to it, but we have to be able to use that to capitalize on play action to attack the middle of the field. Things like these crossing routes that we were talking about, like this is a prime game for those kind of opportunities.
Please, like it's literally all we're asking for. And you say like get Saquon going because it just feels like that's the approach that they have every game. But it's like, hey, the same way AJ and Devontae, who are game breakers in their own respect, were able to be complementary pieces to Saquon last year, Saquon can do that for them. And dude, oh man, Quell, it's just so puzzling to me, dude. Sirianni is former receiver, cannot stop calling pass plays, and now we just cannot get like one of the best receivers in the league going. The irony is just insane to me, man.
That's what happens when you see things like last year and the success that the run game had. Like I was actually doing some research.
Man of extremes.
I was I don't want to say attempting. I was contemplating to do an article on basically Kevin Patullo's lifespan, and I wanted to kind of base it around the whole thought process of Jeff Lurie, and we know historically him wanting the need to have an explosive passing offense in this league. He feels like that's the way to succeed. But then a season like last year happens, and then I heard his presser from earlier this year where you could almost hear him backtracking, just like Nick Sirianni, where it's like, I mean, yeah, you got to throw the ball, but you got to be able to do both. And a run game is important too, and things that you never heard these guys say. So it's easy to say that that's the roots of this football team, but I think last year changed them, and we thought it would be for the better. But I mean, kind of like you continue to say, man, this team, there's no middle ground here, man. You either so far left or so far right. We can't come together.
Come together right now. No, they don't want to, man.
But I do think one thing to pay attention to in terms of this Detroit defense last week against Washington, they showed an ability to be beaten down the field. And I mean, when you play man coverage, that's kind of a risk reward thing. Right. But you talk about a team that gave up completions of 41 yards, 58 yards, and 54 yards in the same game. So, and I mean, granted, Washington only scored, but what, 14 points or something like that. So those completions only went but so far. Denver don't break, which we'll talk about on the other side too. But just showing that, like you said, this is an opportunity. It should be an opportunity to get the passing game going. It's just a matter of how things. Yeah,
it's literally 1-2 by the coaching staff, and that's the part that makes me want to put my head through the drywall behind me. Is it's literally just like these clowns who are just like, oh, we're gonna do it this way. They're approaching just complete clown status. All right, I'm being generous by calling them. I'll say kind of clowns right now. Okay, like they only got like half the makeup on. They only got like the nose and like the eye, but like the face is not like super white yet. So one more game and they're gonna be complete clown bozo mode. But if you can't do it this game, Quell, as you just outlined, I don't know when you're going to be able to get going this late in the season. We've officially passed.
I mean, we've seen it. Like, ideally,
I agree with you. I agree with you, but we saw more flashes than last year, dude. What's happening with AJ now? Granted, he's missed games, but the way that AJ Brown's numbers are looking, the way that he's had one game, right, where he actually had like genuine impact on the game. Devontae's had 3, right? Maybe 4.
It's probably more closer to 2 to 4,
right? These are 2 of the best receivers in the NFL, and we're in week 10. It's just it's nonsensical, and they you can't just depend on, hey, we're gonna get going at the end, because the players don't feel like they can just get going at the end, and that should terrify everyone.
And I mean,
that should be the most terrifying thing to everyone.
I don't want to think that like I said, they've shown that they can get going at the end. I think it's more so an indictment on Kevin Patullo.
Oh yeah, it's not on the players at all. This is on play calling, because Kellen Moore got in his bag at the end, and granted, maybe Kevin Patullo all of a sudden does, but the way that we felt like the offense was inept last year, right? I was number one complainer around that. But this feels like another level. Like, at least we could hang our hat on the run game last year. This is like a level of like, what do we do well? We just sit here every week like, what are we good at?
Winning, I guess.
I don't know. All right. Anything else on the offense? Because it makes me miserable. Let's talk about the fun side of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Let's get to the good side.
All right. So, this game, you have Vic Fangio versus Dan Campbell, because Dan Campbell has taken over play calling for the Lions. And in that one game, he was extremely efficient, right? Now that all throws off the numbers. And if you see the charts, as we talked about last game, he only has one game to deal with in terms of how well he did. And he balled out, credit where credit is due. But this team poses multiple challenges for the defense, right? You have Sam Laporta, who – probably, or no, he's not going to play.
Yeah, he's out.
He's confirmed out. But you have Penei Sewell, who's probably going to play, who's their right tackle. who's likely going to play. And then you have Taylor Decker, who is limited, who's questionable, who's their left tackle. But beyond that, you have Sonic and Knuckles, right? You have
those guys are damn good, and
dude,
I'll get into it when we start talking about it.
damn good, dude. Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery been a top duo in the NFL. Probably one of like the better duos. Like you'll probably get into it, but if we're looking back all time, dude, in terms of running back duos, this is got to be one of the best pairings that we've seen. But they've been, historic for a couple of years. And then you have Amon-Ra St. Brown at receiver, who is gonna go out there and catch a lot of passes. He does it every week. And so you have threats, top level threats at just about every position. Obviously, they're missing Laporta, but you have your hands full when you have the Lions offense in town. But luckily, our defense is the part of our team we can hang our hat on. So how are you feeling about this game, bro? What you got?
This game, again, like I said at the top, this matchup as a whole is a fun one because it all starts. It comes down to physicality, man. And Nick Sirianni talked about this. Jalen Hurts talked about this. Like, you got to be able to play your brand of football in this game. Whichever team is able to, I don't want to say impose your will because I don't really think either team will be able to impose their will on the opposite, but more so leave your mark will be the better phrase to say on this game.
Or also dictate the way you want to play.
Exactly.
Don't be told how to play.
Exactly. And I think that ultimately comes down to like what I was about to say when you talk about this game. Like, first of all, when you talk about the Detroit Lions, how I got it in my notes is, will the real Slim Shady please stand up? The Lions between weeks 2 through 6 scored between 34 points and 52 points in all of those games. And then you have over the last few weeks, prior to last week against the Commanders, where the team scored 24 or less points. Like, this isn't the Lions team that we became accustomed to over the last 3 years. Mm-hmm. The explosive. Like, at first we saw the team lose Ben Johnson and it was like didn't miss a beat. And then as the season continued to progress, you started to see some of the things creep up on them, like how they were utilizing some of their players. Specifically, we could start with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who historically he did most of his work from the slot. Well, he has damn near 50-50 alignment from the slot this year versus out wide. Actually, these stats come from great friend of the pod, Devin Jackson. When you look at some of his work this year from versus out wide in the slot, he's been more effective as a slot receiver. He has the third most receiving yards from the slot at 336, third best receiving EPA at plus 19.6, and the third most yards after catch at 154. So he's been much more impactful, but yet they continue to try to find balance with him on the inside and the outside instead of committing to who they were as a football team. Another guy that has seen hit or miss kind of things in the offense was Jameson Williams, who he had his coming out party of sorts last week against Washington with 7 targets, 6 receptions, 119 yards, and a touchdown. But
how did I forget Jameson Williams on the intro? It's been a long day. That's nasty work by me, especially after last week. Nasty work by me. My bad, Jameson. My bad.
That's all right, J-Mo. We got you, buddy. Former Buckeye.
All right. Hey, where did he go to get drafted?
He transferred, but it's okay.
Just where it matters more.
I feel like it's a decent trade-off, if you ask me. Jameson Williams for Julian Sand.
It just matters more down there.
But
I don't tell you, two coaches who've killed people.
Oh my goodness!
In 1 year, tell me it doesn't mean more.
Oh my goodness! When you talk about J-Mo, man, guy who's had at least 66 yards and a touchdown in 3 of his last 4 games, so another guy that's slowly to come along. But who I like to believe is the most important part of this offense, that Sonic that you mentioned at the top of this conversation, and Jameer Gibbs, and to say his utilization throughout the course of the year has been intriguing. Much less involved as a pass catcher, much more involved as a pass blocker. And it's like, I mean, he's still doing this thing on the ground. He's coming off 142-yard performance, has 130-plus yards in 2 of his last 3 games. But What about the other aspect of his game that is taken away from your offense? The most interesting thing about this is I talked for months about the Eagles being the one team that they don't send 5 out on the route. They just kind of leave people in. That's why Jalen Hurts always seems so protected. But then nobody's open because you only got 2-3 people running routes, and it's like, whoa, what? Well, that's the Detroit Lions this season. They block everybody and tell 2 people to run a route and pray that they get open. And most of the times they scheme people open and it works. But you look at games like the Minnesota Vikings game where Brian Flores was able to use that against them. Like, well, I don't think my linebackers can really cover your running backs. So since you like using them as pass blockers anywhere, I'm just going to blitz you and make them pass block instead of being out there and running routes. And your quarterback is going to struggle.
That's what it comes down to, man. It's going to come down to, and ideally, we don't even have to send them many guys to pressure. The way that the D-line was playing last week, now obviously you send some linebackers and you're not necessarily, like we talked about, not necessarily keeping all the linebackers there. Some are dropping. You have some D-line dropping, but whatever. But the havoc that the D-line was causing last week, and I just saw on Twitter on the side, because I was retweeting our pod. See the Clint Hurt. You see the clip of him on the sideline. Physical brand of football. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I like to hear. That defense came to play after the bye, bro. That's made the offensive performance even more frustrating. Actually, I read Les Bowen's article. I forgot. After the bye last week, it was the Browns game. Last year when Nick was yelling at fans and then brought his kids on to the press conference. So hopefully they pick it up after this week. But my God, I guess we can say that Nick Sirianni teams are not the team after the bye that the Reed and Peterson teams were, because the offense always looked fun after those games.
I mean, maybe just rely on that win column like he continues.
I know, man. I know, but it worries me sometimes, bro, to be honest with you. Like, he talks about all these fundamentals, and his fundamentals sometimes are just so off base. And it's just like, dude, how can you be like, oh, we're like, I get it. You have the win column, but how much of it is him getting bailed out by his talent as well? And now he has a generational defensive coordinator. I don't know. I like Nick, but they really need to iron out some of these things. It's frustrating to have to deal with them every year. And it's like, look, dude, if you're going to be mentioned in the same breath, every other year. Right. Yeah. Every other year. But if you're going to be mentioned in the same breath as some of these other guys, you have to straighten these things out. Like, it can't just be a Nick Sirianni team thing. And I like the guy. I think but
at some point, I've been a Nick Sirianni supporter, so forget it. Let's stick to it. Why can't it? Everybody loves to talk about Kyle Shanahan as some savior. Like, his resume doesn't say.
Dude, I think at this point, well, I think that is such a 2021 comparison.
I don't know, man.
If anything, who the hell is still talking about Shanahan as like the GOAT?
You need to pick up some more.
If I click their profile, and I see they're on the West Coast, I'm not listening. If they're from California, I don't care, because he's their OC, and they're like, "Oh my God, this guy's so good." But like,
no, not even just people from their side of the spectrum, the Bay side. It's people who, for lack of a better term, he's still well respected out here. And
listen, there's nothing wrong with respecting him as a play caller and what he can do in terms of designing plays. Fine, you can give him credit there. He's not a winner, and like, sure, Nick Sirianni has won, but the questions about how much of it is like the teams that he's surrounded with and how much of it is the GM that he's been with his whole career, I think some of them are valid when you look at like the 4th and 6. When you look at the way that these teams just melt down throughout the year, they ended up winning last year. But if they lose that game, right? Like, obviously it's so hypothetical, but like, he's gone, right? That game is what it all came down to, and they balled out. So it bought him all the goodwill you can give, and I admit you have to give him the goodwill. But at the end of the day, it's like, Nick, dude, this can't happen every other year where we forget how to play football, and everyone just hates the game. because you're supposed to be the culture guy who controls all these things. We've had issues almost every year. And at one point, it's like, dude, what are you doing in there? Like, I don't care about the rock, paper, scissors. I don't care about the free throws. I don't care about any of it. I want the players to just be having fun and winning football games. They shouldn't be miserable and openly complaining about the team. And the 2 times, I mean, I guess you can say like the one time he's handpicked the OC, it's been the roughest year in a year. Every other year.
You know how I feel about that. I don't truly think he handpicked Brian Johnson, but that's another conversation.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like if you consider it that this is his first time truly handpicking a coordinator, I mean, fine, you can give him Steichen because that was.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Right,
but first time saying this is my guy. Yeah, I get
right.
you. His Press Taylor,
and it's his Press Taylor, right? So that's. But these are all questions for the future. We're in the middle of the season, so I don't want to get too bogged down into it. But it really frustrates me, bro, because I just look at all these talented players, and it just should not be this much of an issue. Like, bro, I've watched you. I've played you in Madden. You string together plays better than he does, better than Patullo does, and that's alarming. That the average Madden player can put together drives better than Patullo can. And it's not like it's just like, oh, you're playing on easy mode. It's just like, hey, string together the pass and the run. Make people think you're going to do something else.
I completely agree, man. I completely agree. But what really stands out to me about this Lions team before we get into our matchups to watch is kind of like you said at the top, man. It's really hard to go by the numbers. You can look at some of the numbers that are there, but then you have the 1 game sample size of Dan Campbell, where, as a famous P's and Q's quote, he kind of goes balls to the wall on what he believes in. And I mean, you talk about a team in Philadelphia who there's no middle ground. You either all the way left or all the way right. Well, that's Dan Campbell calling the football game, man. For this Dan Campbell-led team, we talk about their production. This last team, for a little bit of context, this last team on just Dan Campbell's first game as the play caller, they had a 51% play action rate. Which I believe is their highest of this season specifically, or maybe their second highest of this season. A 57% motion at the snap rate, which is not only the second highest. I mean, not only the highest of this season, but the second highest of the Dan Campbell tenure as a whole. He basically was sitting there and called this game like, I like when Ben did that cool stuff. I'm just going to do all this cool stuff that Ben did, but to the extreme. And it worked. It worked. So, it makes you wonder kind of a whole lot of what happens in Philadelphia. We talk about these offenses as Nick Sirianni's brainchild. He may not call the plays, but there's brainchild. Maybe, just maybe, that's Dan Campbell's brainchild offensively. And we look at him as this defensive guy and all this type of stuff. And it's like, I mean, yeah, cool, but this is what I would want my offense to look like if I could call plays. Like David Montgomery, the last game was the first time you've seen David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs actually look like Sonic and Knuckles this season. It was either one or the other. One is having a great game, and the other one is like, well, I mean, yeah, my guy's having a good game, so it's cool, or vice versa. But for the first time, I mean, I think somebody did a great job of asking this on Twitter. Does this tell us that the Commanders' defense is just horrendous, or are the Lions just back? Is the one question that I really want to find out.
Damn right. I think there's, before we move on to the matchups. Oh, VJ, he tried to. Oh, I'm watching highlights right now, I guess. No, am I?
Yes, the game is over, buddy.
We lost?
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right, Sixers are back. Okay. I don't know why they would show a highlight of an almost dunk. That's so frustrating. That's why I thought the game was live. Anyways, I think there's things to pull from how the Commanders played the Lions and in how they use their linebackers against their running backs. I think the Eagles have that recipe, but even better. Like, I think you can just kind of pair off the running backs with your linebackers, try to get some, multiple linebacker sets out there and just see how that goes. Cause they sometimes stay in pass protection. They sometimes get out there, but if you have, somebody accounted for both of them at the linebacker position, because if they're running, heavy personnel with 2 running backs out there, you have the ability to get some extra linebackers out there. It'll be interesting. But, obviously you also have Cooper DeJean, who can basically do what linebackers do because he's so damn strong. So, I'm just interested. I honestly have no idea how Vic's going to go at it, because if there's anything Vic's shown this year is that he's just going to buck convention and just try to, win however he can. And the thing is the way Vic has gone about winning makes me so much more comfortable than how the offense has been. You know what I mean? If the explanation is oh, they just win, the way Vic has just been winning makes me feel much better than how the offense has just been winning, because Vic has been trying different things, experimenting, seeing what's out there, what works for this defense. So extremely excited to see. You want to give me their
offense versus our defense. Yes, their offense versus our defense. My matchup to watch is, I guess I can't even really say it's our defense. I mean, since it's technically our defense, it's our defense involved. But my matchup to watch is Jared Goff versus the city of Philadelphia. Ooh, he's already talked about how
kind of cheating, but I like it. Kind of cheating, but I like it.
He's already talked about all the hostile environment and all this stuff.
Dude, how is it his first time, bro?
Buddy.
How is it his first time? That's so crazy.
It's so weird.
We all remember the draft with Jared and Carson, and this is his first time in Philadelphia. And his whole career has been in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Thanks for even adding to the lore. The whole thing of, will he be an Eagle, will he won't in that draft season? Of course, the Rams ended up picking him with the first pick. We know how all that went. But the reason I say Jared Goff versus the city of Philadelphia is because, A, he's got to deal with Big Sin. And when you talk about Goff has been pretty good, man. 5 touchdowns to 0 interceptions in his last 2 games. He had 320 yards and 3 touchdowns last week against Washington. Was not sacked 1 time against Washington after being sacked 4 times in each of the last 2 weeks prior to that. So they did a good job of keeping him upright last week, despite some of those injuries you talked about. The guy in Goff who is thrown 9. This was my favorite stat about him, because I'm like, oh, this is going to test us for real. He's thrown a league high 8.3 yards per attempt on what they would attest as quick passes. He's thrown for 980 yards, which ranked 5th in the league, and 12 touchdown passes, which ranked 2nd in the league. Now, I've talked about that specific section earlier pods with Knicks, Dart, some of these younger quarterbacks who they wanted to protect their quarterback by getting the ball out of their hands early. And you saw with all those numbers and the success they had. Dart, 9 for 11, 58 yards. Knicks, 13 for 16, 113 yards and a touchdown. So interesting to see how the Eagles can stop him in the quick gas passing game. Now, the real thing about him against the city of Philadelphia is we all know the lore about Jared Goff being an inside quarterback. He plays his best work inside domes. Last year, the Lions were so good because all of his games were inside. I think he played 2 games outside last year. It was almost unreal. Even when he went on the road, they were indoor games. Whatever.
Yeah, it was
type
nuts.
Of luck.
It was nuts.
Well, Jared Goff, you have to travel to the city of Philadelphia. So where things get entertaining is Jared Goff's completion percentage as an indoor passer is 68%. As an outdoor passer is 64%. Now, when you talk about Jared Goff as an outdoor passer in degrees, 50 degrees or lower, which, we've all been outside recently. I'm sure it's going to be pretty damn cold at nighttime come kickoff. We're talking about a guy with a 60% completion percentage. He does not like playing in the cold. Cali kid. What do you expect?
For the record, Sunday is supposed to be 57 with a
kickoff.
So around kickoff, it's a 4 p.m. game, right?
No, it's 8:20, brother.
Oh, it's Sunday night?
Mm-hmm. I've been waiting all day.
Did they flex it?
No.
I'm tripping. I must have been looking at some other game. Okay. So at 8 p.m. it's going to be 48.
Yeah. Them boys squabbling out there. They're squabbling out there. It's cold out there. They're squabbling.
I like that. All right. Mine. Are you done? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. Mine is a little bit simpler. Penei Sewell. I assume he's going to play. versus our new boy, Jalen Phillips.
I'm sorry, man. I will never let this go past me. We will not. This is a Jay Philly podcast. We will not pronounce him by anything but Jay Philly.
I think it needs to be workshopped.
Jalen Phillips, man.
I know, but
it's right there.
But I read it like 4 times, to be honest. Now it's a couple of beers deep, but I read it a couple of times and I was like, who the hell is Quell talking about? Who the hell is Jay Philly? And I was like, oh, Jalen Philly ups. I see. Okay.
It's right there. It's all right there. Just gotta let it happen organically.
I think you gotta have the full name, Jalen Philly. But even that doesn't work. It doesn't work. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. But I don't know if Jay works.
Okay. I get you.
But I like the thought. You're right there. It's like you know the meme of the guy digging with the thing. We're almost at the diamond.
Don't worry, we'll keep shooting.
We're almost at the diamond. Don't turn back now.
I'll make it
the diamond. Anyways, Jay Philly, whoever it might be, or Nolan Smith, regardless, whoever's on Penny C, well, I think that's going to be a big matchup because one of the best tackles in the NFL, second best tackle in the NFL, because obviously the number one resides in Philadelphia. It's going to be a big matchup to watch because as Jared Goff can also struggle in the cold, struggle against crazy crowds of insane people and rabid people, as Philadelphia fans are, he also struggles against pressure. And if we can get pressure from the edge, if we can be sealing the edge, kind of stop their run game from there as well, I think the entire dynamics of this game changes. Now, obviously, that's easy to say, and it's the case for every game. But I think it's even more true for the Lions because the Lions, the powerhouse of their offense is their run game, and their pass game builds off of that, the way that we've been kind of asking the Eagles to do. But if you're able to stop that in its tracks, and teams have obviously been able to get a lot of outside zones on us and run outside on us, put a stop to that, all of a sudden you can put the Lions into a little bit of trouble. So that would be that would be my matchup to watch.
Okay, so on the opposite side of the ball, we got the Eagles offense against the Lions defense.
Mm-hmm.
My matchup to watch for the Eagles offense against the Lions defense would be that's an interesting question. That wasn't one I workshopped before I got here. I was too excited about the first one. Yeah, you could go first.
I got mine. It's easy, brother. We talked about Terry and Arnold being out. AJ Brown against Rock Yassin. Temple graduate, Temple great.
Back in the city.
But AJ Brown versus Rock Yassin or Arthur Mallet. Now, also big shout out to Jake Rabati for this drop. He said looks like the Lions are going to start him or Arthur Mallet, whichever. But like we talked about, outlined at the beginning of this podcast, it's time to just figure things out and get this offense going.
Oh, we back. I got it. I done figured it out.
All right. Man coverage against those boys. AJ, get to work, brother. Jalen throwing the ball. And now what you got, my boy?
My matchup to watch will be always starting end in the trenches where you began. The Eagles offensive line against this Detroit vaunted pass rush. Not even just the pass rush, just them as a whole. The Eagles offensive line practiced in full for the first time in weeks this week. I'm not sure. I believe the expectation is that they all will be there Sunday night. Mm-hmm. And we should have the entire starting offensive line presumably healthy for the first time all season. So with that being the case, you talk about a Lions team who, like I said earlier on, 40 sacks on the season, but they coming off a game against the Commanders where they just sacked the quarterback twice on 22 dropbacks, only 2 quarterback hits. So it's not like they really got after the guy last week. You talk about a Lions defense that we talk about how really good they are against the run and how we keep wanting to stuff square pegs and round holes with Saquon Barkley. And let's see if we can get this going. The Eagles offensive line will play a massive part into how successful this team will be on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Whether it's throwing the ball, running the ball, the fact that we got all of our guys out there. I mean, shout out to Brett Toth and your contribution, brother. I talked a lot of trash, man. See you in Valhalla. But
did you know Justin Herbert has a brother?
Yes. I scout players, Parth.
Patrick Herbert? And he looks just like him. How did nobody know about this?
Plays tight end, right?
Yeah, somebody said this is some Mandela effect stuff. Like, brother, I did not know this guy existed.
Yeah, he's still in school. He's doing this thing.
Oh, okay. He's in college.
Yeah.
I thought he was in the NFL, and I was
No,
like,
not yet.
Oh, Jags. No, wait. No, dude, he's in the league.
Oh, he's in the league now?
Jags tight end, Patrick Herbert. Yeah.
This is his first year?
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, it must be. Okay. All right, that makes me feel better. That's crazy. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just was looking at this, and I'm like, it looks like Justin Herbert, but it's not Justin Herbert. Yeah. Okay, he got drafted, undrafted, signed to the practice squad this year, 2025.
Yeah, that sounds
okay. Good. I'm sorry, bro. Go on. That just blew my mind.
Much lower. But long story short, if the Eagles want to be successful, the offensive line has to be the reason why this week. They have to get back. You just talked about that video from Clint Hurts and physical brand of football. Damn they have to get back to playing Philadelphia Eagles football. This
O-line football. Damn right.
What a perfect opportunity, man. What does the saying say? I've been waiting all day for a Sunday night prime time against the team that this is what the world wanted to see for an NFC Championship game. They thought you were going to have to go on the road, and the Super Bowl wasn't going to come through Philadelphia as it does typically when you go to the Super Bowl. And now's the time for, I don't want to say, like he said, it's a revenge game. I mean, you can't really do anything to make up anything from last year, brother. It's over. It's done.
It's over.
But I'll be glad to line them up and see how good y'all truly are this year.
Damn right. Lace them up. That's all it is. As the Gators said before their season fell apart spectacularly and have made me just miserable, spot the ball. And it's damn right for this week, too. Just spot the ball. Because Eagles going to be ready to
rather you didn't use a Gator, something.
Listen, you're going to get it, buddy. Because you want 6 linemen. Hey, you want 6 linemen or not?
Okay. He can live. Only reason I let you live is how he
can't run the ball without 6 linemen right now. All right. Get him.
We can't do much anything without 6 linemen.
Brother, right? Like we can't even pass
Fred Johnson is basically an honorary starter at this point.
Seriously. And I love
I was watching the game. Me and Shavin was watching the game the other day, and I said, why is Fred Johnson in the game? And then I paused and I was like, oh, never mind. I know why Fred Johnson's in the game. Mm-hmm. And she was like, wow, usually he's in the game because someone's hurt. And I'm like, nah, we just like to use an extra offensive lineman. It makes sense. Sometimes my man found him a job. He found him a role.
At the end of the day, like I don't care.
He's this year's BVS.
Yeah. I wish we could just get the push without 6 linemen, but if you need it to get the offense going, do whatever.
Mean, brother. It's either 6 offensive linemen or Devonta Smith out there doing nothing.
Oh, yeah, listen, I'm not saying I want that. I'm just saying I wish, our 5 could be out there doing it all, but if we need 6,
my man said on stream, he was talking, I think he was talking to Patrick Surtain and Terry Arnold. They asked him about the touch push. He was like, man, I don't be out there doing nothing. Don't ask me. I'm like, at least he honest about it, bro. He like, I ain't getting dirty for this. They can ban it. I don't give a damn. I don't do nothing anyway.
Fair. At the end of the day, it's fair, brother. All right. So, score prediction, my guy?
Yes. So, I struggled with this game. I can't remember the last time I picked an Eagles loss. I was pretty close this week. I'm not going to lie to you. But then I came across a very interesting stat that always seems to tempt the metric in my scale. After despite all the harsh comments we've given to them over the season and how Big Zen is kind of carrying them guys together. After last week's performance against the Packers and allowing 10 points, the Eagles defense are down to just 21 points per game allowed on the year. That's pretty damn good, only allowing opponents to score 21 points per game. Mm-hmm. What makes it even better is when the team on the other side of the ball, who also has a pretty good damn defense, they only allow 22 points per game.
Wow.
Now, I'm not pretty good at math, but if you can score 22 and the other team scores 21, think you might win the game. I'm going Birds, man. I'm going Eagles. I'm going Eagles 24-20.
I like it. Honestly, bro, I was in the same place as you. It feels like, this is a damn good team. Kind of things are a little bit scrambled.
We're going to win because, I already done put my prediction out there. But this going to be one of them games, when you just got off work, you had a long day, you picked up the controller, you open up your beer, you I'm just trying to enjoy myself. And then the person on the opposite side of the screen is such a try-hard. Buddy, why are you going so much?
No, and that's about where I'm at. Is I think they're just going to wake up for this game because they're going to be a little bit annoyed. They're going to be a little bit pissed off. And I take the Eagles to win this game, but it's funny. I don't have us perfect against the NFC North.
Oh, look, man.
I feel like there's
cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a weird fluky one, but I do think. So I saw somebody post we beat the Lions, we break the will of the NFC North.
No,
and I think.
I
think it's kind of the case, but I still think we could lose one to the NFC North. I don't know if we go perfect against them, but that's just a Negadelphian in me as well.
Think about it like this. This was going to make that Black Friday game fun for me, and I'll drop this same stat again when we get there.
Yeah.
But should the Eagles be able to win this game against the Lions? That's why I talked about that Bears-Eagles alliance building on social media. We've done the dirty work for each other. The Bears right now, perfect against the NFC East. They've beaten all the rest of the teams.
Yeah.
They've been the reason. I've literally posted videos about me from Eagles games years ago, us screaming, "Let's go Bears!" because the Bears got us into the playoffs because they beat
multiple times.
They won a game that we needed them to win. Granted, the Commanders ended up not being so good anyway, but at that point in time, we needed that for us to stay in first place in the NFC East. So they've done a lot of their fair share of taking care of us, and we've done our part of taking care of them. And if we can win, we'd be 3-0 against the North. They'd be 3-0 against the East. And come Black Friday, it's right? Interesting, man.
Oh! When we play, yeah. No, absolutely, man, and that's what I'm kind of expecting. I'm expecting a couple perfect records. I think the Bears might get a fluky one, because it's funny. You look back at the Super Bowl winning season, it's we lost to the Falcons. We lost to the Falcons, and it's funny because it was a very similar situation to the end of that Packers game. You remember they kicked the field goal there, and they learned from their lesson and didn't want to kick the field goal this time, but then they just went to the other extreme as usual. But anyways, my score prediction for this game, we're getting mixed up and talking about the next game. My score prediction for this game, you said 24-20.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll go 21-24. I'll go 21-24. So it's a little bit different, but I don't see it being a super high scoring game. I also don't see it being as insanely low scoring as last game. Yeah. I see some points being put up. Honestly, if we're looking back, probably the Lions score less points than we expect, and that's the outcome given how we've watched these Eagles defenses play for the last couple years, 2 years. But we'll see. I think we had a really, really fun game coming up. Sunday Night Football. Can't ask for much more. 131. Who's 31?
Jalen Mills?
Jalen Mills was 31. Yeah, good memory. Yeah. Jalen Hurts, Jalen Mills, or Nelson Aguilar and
Nolan Smith. No, you said one.
No, one. And Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
All right. Well, did the numbers for you all. Hey, shout out to the 19 of you who've been here the whole time. Every night's not popping. We appreciate you regulars. We're always here with us.
We miss you, Pierre.
Miss you, Pierre. You better be one of those 19. Otherwise, we're not talking ever again.
Yeah, right. Even in the comments. Parth always in the comments, man.
I just show love, and I guess he just doesn't care about us, bro. He's like, oh, I'm not up there. I don't want to comment. I don't want to give him. He doesn't want to give us his Twitter clout.
John ain't got no aura without me there.
There's no aura. There's no aura. There's no aura. It's just a bunch of old bozos. Get these clowns out of here, man.
Old men yelling at clouds.
The geriatrics. Get them to sleep. Get them to sleep. It's too late for them. But anyways, thank you truly to the 19 of you who are tapped in with us. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe. Rate us 5 stars. I always have the order out of order now. I say rate, review, subscribe, and I say 5
man,
stars.
as long as they do it.
Exactly.
They can subscribe, rate, review, subscribe, view, rate, subscribe. I don't care.
Thumbs up. Follow us on Twitter at the Philly Blitz _. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
5 stars. Thanks, everyone.
Not one pride. We don't have no one pride. It's bird season.
Go Birds. Dude, and okay, before we sign off, a flock of fully grown eagles versus one lion, I'm taking the eagles every time. Okay, you know how big fully grown eagles can be? 8 feet wingspan, bro. You know what I'm saying? 8 feet wingspan. Think about that.
I think if they got in a line parallel and tried to pick them up by the fur, they could get them.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just scooping with the claws. Couple eagles come in tandem.
No Devonta Smiths out there not doing nothing. They could get them.
Fully animal kingdom though. Come down with the claws. 8 foot wingspan. We're talking about a wingspan that's bigger than Joel Embiid. That's how long those wings are. Picking that up. All right. Go Birds. Thanks, everybody.